we're processing, hundreds of millions of dollars a month, billions of dollars a year in B2B payments. And we can use legacy rails like Swift. We can also use new rails like stablecoins. The issue that both of them have downsides to them, right? And so when you think about Swift, for example, Swift is a network that connects banks, right? So there's a network of correspondent banks that essentially pass information to each other. Number one problem is that doesn't include any sort of identity or compliance data, right? It's purely the payment information. And the way that it's done, and I actually worked in banks. I wasn't in bank in the US. And so the way that it's done sometimes, it's really archaic, right? So for example, if Mauricio here, pretend he's a bank and he wanted to send money to Emily, oftentimes what happens is there's literally a fax that comes through, right? There's a human that receives that fax, they read it, they type it into a terminal, they pass a piece of paper, maybe actually to Andre, right? To go back to Emily. So this process is inefficient, it's error prone, lots of issues around that. On the other hand, you have, for example, stablecoin rails. So USDC, USDT, all these sort of things. They're great. They're super quick, super cheap, very transparent. The problem with them is that because they're new, the financial system doesn't trust them, right? So our banking partners, some of our financial partners, they need to see the compliance data that's attached to it. They need to be sure that this is, essentially clean money. And what tbdevs is doing, this is why we're integrating, this is why I like working with these guys so much, is they're actually combining the two, right? So you have a messaging protocol that's actually programmatic, that's efficient, that you don't need to pass pieces of papers around. You actually have an API you can plug into, and it's the same API for everybody. And at the same time, it also includes compliance data, identity data. So we actually know within the same transaction, essentially, where's the money coming from, what's the purpose of it, and we know that's been verified. It's regulatory compliant according to whatever regulatory regime in each country, and that creates a huge opportunity for us, I think.
All right. Hello, everyone. So that was a new intro, a little less lively, but what I do want you to know about today's live stream is there are ways for you to win tickets to go to the We Are Developers Conference. So definitely participate in any of the questions that pop up. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a live stream where we talk to different SSI experts about projects they're working on. And if you're not sure what SSI means, that stands for self-sovereign identity, but we're learning more and diving deeper into self-sovereign identity. So today we're chatting with folks from Softron and the Universal Connect project. But before we dive into what they do and what their project is about, I always like to do a little icebreaker. And my first question to them is basically, what piece of technology did you think will always exist, but it doesn't anymore? And I ask this because I always liked, when I was younger, I always wanted a portable DVD player and all that. And my mom never got me one. And I was thinking back, I'm nobody really uses them anymore. So I was making a big deal over nothing.
I know I knew you sent me that question early, so I had a chance to think about it, but I didn't, and I'm totally drawing a blank.
No worries.
I cannot think of anything that I expected to exist. I can think of stuff as a kid, I definitely thought I would live to see teleportation, watching Star Trek. They were all reruns, so I'm not that old, but watched a lot of Star Trek when I was a kid, so I was pretty sure I'd be able to do that by now. So that's a bummer, but maybe we'll get there.
That makes sense. What about you, Nanjuan?
He reads a lot of sci-fi, so she probably has a really good answer for this.
I don't know. One thing I always want, this cool stuff, is on the watch you can click it and have a hologram or projection. You can see like 3D, but that doesn't seem to be there yet.
I agree with you. I remember watching a movie on Disney called Xenon, and they had a whole bunch of like, what's it called, holograms and stuff like that. I was like, I can't wait. Okay, I never really watched that much Star Wars and Star Trek, so I didn't know what to say. But yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I have a follow-up question then that hopefully is easier. Maybe it's just as hard. And that's what's like a common, what's a tech that's common right now that you think won't exist in the next 10 years?
Centralized social media. I think the way that Twitter is designed won't exist anymore, and Threads and Instagram and all that stuff. I think that's all going to be dead within a decade.
We're going to blue sky. Yeah. What about you?
Or something.
Yeah. What about you, Nanjuan? Anything?
I think in the line of like trying to have APIs that's kind of like closed environments, API that's controlled by each website itself. I think that's kind of the same as with the development of AI.
Ooh, I never even thought of that. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see what some of the comments are saying. Hey to Angie, how you doing? And then also Lawrence said he's still holding out for teleportation. Me too. Honestly, that's my goal in life. Like after Web 5, let's do teleportation. I'm tired of going on planes and sitting there for 7 hours. I don't have the patience. All right, so quickly for everyone, what our agenda is going to be is we're going to go through like introductions. We'll talk about the Universal Connect project. There's going to be like an interactive quiz. We'll do a demo, and then we'll do Q&A. Ian also wrote, I think we'll definitely see people using more AI-friendly APIs for sure. So they're agreeing with Nanjuan. And good morning to Dr. T. What's going on? All right, y'all. So if you see comments pop up, definitely participate, or like stuff on the screen, leave a comment for a chance to win a ticket to the We Are Developers Conference in Berlin, Germany. All right. Next thing, y'all, is who are you, Jack and Nanjuan? Tell us who you are, what you do, so we can learn a little bit more.
Sure. Nanjuan and I have been working together for over a decade now. Actually, I guess soon it will be closer to 2. I'll have to start saying that. We worked together at Microsoft like early 2000s, and we've started a couple companies together. Softron is the second, and we started I don't know, 6 years ago or something. And the idea is, or the kind of the whole point of Softron is kind of what Nanjuan was alluding to in her prediction there. It's to be able to turn any application into an API using AI. And so we started by, so the problem is there's a lot of apps out there that are great. They have great user experiences. You put all your data into them. They have a lot of information, but they're kind of this walled garden where if you put your data in there, you use the app, right? So you end up populating it, and then you want to get to that data. You can't. You have to click on their buttons, right? And so we realized we think we can use AI, or this was the thesis of the business, so that we could put an AI layer in there, so that then you have an API that you can program to, and you can do whatever you want with your own data. You can pull the data. Right now it's still read only, but we think eventually it'll be read write. And so what that means is that developers, if they build an app and they haven't gotten around to building an API yet, it's fine. It might not be as efficient. You could do maybe optimization by writing the API, but if Softron can slide in there and turn any app into something that has an API, then it makes everybody's life easier. So we started by focusing on bank data and financial related data. But yeah, our ambition is to do a lot more than that. And as our AI gets better, it can do a lot more things. So if you want to connect to your bank or your credit union, you can do that with us already. We support every bank in the United States and every credit union in the US and Canada, and then some in South America. some in Mexico. But then we've also expanded from there to be able to do stuff like utilities and phone bills and that sort of thing. So that's kind of our core business. Yeah, it's going well. I'll let Nanjong jump in.
And wait, also, I didn't know this about Softron. I thought it was like purely financial, but I didn't know you all were like aiming for even more. So I think that's interesting. Yeah, Nanjong, tell us.
Yeah, yeah, working with Jack for a long time. Like, yeah, AI has always been our passion, and using it, I think this is a perfect fit for the market. We can get data that is usually hard to navigate, hard to extract, and we can retrieve it automatically without any human intervention. Or our AI agent is like a human itself, and that makes it super easy for us to expand to like utility, inference, all these different markets outside of the core financial one. And we can also get, like in the next step, maybe even get into medical and other markets. So it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. Jack, it seemed like you were going to say something. Or
I don't think I was, but I'll just build on that and say, yeah, the AI thing is such a buzzword right now that everybody's like, oh, AI everything. But we started almost 7 years ago when it wasn't cool yet. And we have built an actual profitable business solving real actual problems that people have. And there's not a whole lot of AI companies, I think, that have done that so far.
Yeah, and hopefully that's what we're saying about SSI or Web 5 in the future. Like, yeah, we started that a couple years ago, and now it's the thing. Now it's popular. I'm actually curious. So I'm hearing about AI from y'all, but what inspired your initial interest into like self-sovereign identity and open finance? Like, what got you passionate about that?
Yeah, we were. So we had our background was at Microsoft, and then we started a company that was in fintech called Monchilla. Maybe not the best name, but it was like QuickBooks Online before QuickBooks Online existed, and we sold that to a company called Zero with an X. And they're based out of New Zealand, and they're kind of like QuickBooks Online, very similar, but the main problem that we had there was connecting to bank data, because you have all these like small businesses that, all these accountants that just need access to their bank transaction history. So we were really early customers of like Plaid and Yodlee and those guys, and got a lot of experience spending, $1 million+ a month trying to connect to bank data. And it was really bad. Like the cost was high and the reliability was really low. And we did a big deal with Wells Fargo. Like open banking is a phrase now that people know, but it wasn't when we did that. We negotiated the first deal with a big bank in the U.S. and kind of kicked off that effort. And that was, I think, 2014, if I remember right. And that wasn't a great experience for us either. We ended up spending even more money when the bank gave us access than when we were using Yodlee. So we kind of realized that there's an incentive problem to give people access to their own data, and that was why a lot of the fintech apps, in our opinion, were terrible. Like we couldn't do a freemium online banking app because we had to pay like $1 a month for that user just to get access to their bank data, or 75 cents or whatever. And it was just too expensive. And it was super unreliable. So we really started Softron because we wanted to tackle that specific problem, because every other idea that we came up with in fintech always came back to, well, this is going to be our biggest support ticket issue. This is going to be our biggest headache. And then at the same time, we really wanted to do something in AI.
Wow, that's so interesting. And then sorry, I was also looking at if you guys see me fuzzy, my Wi-Fi, it said like my connection's unstable, so I got nervous.
You look fine. I couldn't see it on my end.
Perfect. All right, so you talked about Softron. I'm actually curious too about the UCP, or the Universal Connect project, and you all are developing a widget, Universal Connect widget. What inspired your involvement there? How does that connect with Softron in any way?
Yeah, so Softron is all about using AI to create an API out of a user interface when there isn't a good one, and in that process, like we'll connect to the bank. Like let's say you're using Robinhood. Robinhood uses a service like Softron. If you want to connect your bank to Robinhood, there's a company in between that will go out and pull that data from, like, let's say Chase, right? So pull the data from Chase and then provide that data to Robinhood, and that works, but it's not great. It would be much better if, from just a privacy and security and compliance and like architecture, if we could take that data from Chase and then give it to the end user in some format that they had possession of it, and then they can decide whether they want to give it to Robinhood, right? We don't want to, like, it. We have to be the middleman when it comes to user automation, because that's our whole mission in life, is to, like, if the user wants to do something and they can't because they don't want to have to manually click, like, we'll go click for them. Like, our AI assistant basically will go do the clicking for you. But we don't want to be in a position where we're taking the data and then deciding who gets it. That's not what we really want to do. So when we heard about, we were actually kind of trying to come up with something like Web5 before we heard about it. And so when we heard about it, we're like, oh, great, somebody's already.
I was about to say, you're competing with us, even though you're using it. But keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that that Block was already making that investment. So we just said, oh, great, we can just participate in this open source effort. So the Universal Connect widget is just an open source project that allows you to connect to bank data. It's like a user interface, right? We'll demo it. That allows you to connect to your bank, but instead of taking that data and just giving it to Robinhood, we put it into a verifiable credential, and then you take it into your Web5 wallet and take possession of it, and then you can decide what you want to do with it after that. That's none of our business.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I like that. And then let me see follow-up questions. Okay, so I read a lot of like your GitHub readme about UCP, and you all talked about the different like data providers that were like connected to this. So like you have MX, your company as well, Softron, FinCity, and I've never heard of Akoya, but like them as well. So I'm curious, like when you say they're a data provider, what exactly does that mean? Like the traffic's getting routed to them. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so when you use the Universal Connect project, it's open source and it's not owned by anybody. It's Apache 2 licensed. So you embed this thing in your app, and then you can configure it and say, I want, when my users try to connect, I want them to use Softron, or I want them to use Akoya. Akoya is just like it's kind of like a group of banks that got together and put a bunch of APIs together. And so you can decide which provider you want to have your users use when they're connecting their bank. So it's not just Softron. We're really trying to make it open source. And the nice thing about the Universal Connect widget is, like, all of these companies, including Softron, until we retired it about 6 months ago, we all had our own proprietary widget that you'd have to incorporate. And then let's say that you were using Akoya and you wanted to use Finicity. You would have to do a ton of work. Like, you'd have to rip out the internals of your system, your fintech app, and then include the Akoya app. And so by making it open source and making it interoperable across all the providers, and right now there's 4. Those are huge. Like, that covers a lot of. It definitely covers all the banks, because Softron alone does that. But it gives you a lot of choice. But it's open source, so over time, there's 3 or 4 other ones, maybe 2 or 3 other ones that exist in the US that aren't in there yet, but I'm sure they will be as users decide they want to enable that. So yeah, it allows you to switch between providers and still get the exact same verifiable credentials data format, no matter who you get it from. Oh, you're muted.
Oh no, sorry. How is it advantageous for financial institutions and for like the everyday consumer? I'm wondering, well, let me do it from the everyday consumer first, because I'm wondering if they might be initially suspicious. I'm not a big fan of like my utility phone company.
Right.
or sometimes my bank. So why would I want a verifiable credential from them?
Yeah. So there's a few different. I mean, the short answer is because you want to do something and you can't do it without it. But the reason we think it makes a lot of sense is that your bank and your credit union or your utility company, they are relatively trustworthy sources, right? So if your bank says that your name is Rizal, and you send me a message and I can go, oh, well, Chase Bank said that this message is coming from Rizal, it's probably not a bot. It's probably not somebody that's impersonating you. So we can leverage the existing, like, say, legacy trust system and use that to bootstrap into a Web5 based system where at some point Chase will definitely be issuing verifiable credentials. If they continue to exist in this new world, they'll participate on the internet just like everybody else, and that means a world where they're going to be issuing verifiable credentials, just because it makes sense, right? It's like ultimately all we're talking about with verifiable credentials is Chase is giving you data, but now they're actually going to digitally sign it so that you can take it and show it to somebody else and prove that it has not been tampered with and came from them. So it's really kind of basic and obvious, but they're not doing that yet. And so in the meantime, Softron can connect to somebody like Chase, grab the data, and then we can attest, hey, this data is accurate. We can digitally sign it. And that also kind of helps bootstrap us towards the ideal world.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. One, that you're saying that it's already going to go in this direction. So financial institutions, they're going to be like issuing verifiable credentials. So why not you be one of the people or the organizations to make that easy for them? And then also on the everyday user side, they're going to need that. And who else to trust than like somebody like the bank or like some government agency that this is actually Jack or Nanjuan or Rizal. Like it's not just going to be me saying, oh yeah, that's me. So right. Cool. And this is where like go ahead.
Right. So there's a couple things. One is that like if you want to transfer money from Chase, it's really helpful to be able to get a verifiable credential that says this is my account number and routing number at Chase. And that's got to come from Chase. You're not going to be able to get that anywhere else. And so that's one use case. Another is, like you were saying, just be able to prove your real name on social media, which we'll look at, or being able to prove that you're not a bot because you have a US bank account that requires KYC and all that work. It's too expensive to do that for a bot. So there's a bunch of different cases where somebody might want to do it. And the more that we can enable, the more likely we get to a world where we have somebody else, maybe it is kind of weird for Chase to be being, the person that's saying that Rizal's Rizal. Why isn't it, if you want, why don't you have a digital driver's license, right? Like the government's already verifying your identity. But all of these things are steps in that direction to help like build up use cases, right? It's always a chicken and egg problem if there's not a whole lot of demand for like, Ohio to issue digital driver's licenses so that people can verify their real name on like, Instagram or something, then they're not going to put in the work to do that. But if we can use the existing stuff that's out there, wherever it's at, whatever corner of trust we can dig up and then turn that into a verifiable credential and people start using it, then we have the network effect going on one side, and then the people that issue verifiable credentials that really are the original source of truth or original source of data, I guess. It makes it a lot easier for them to justify doing the work to put that effort in.
That makes a lot of sense. And then you kind of did touch on this a little bit on the fact that you leveraged Web5 in your tech stack, and like this is kind of what you were thinking of using in the first place. But do you want to expand a little bit more on why you would choose Web5 versus maybe another product that's issuing or enabling people to easily issue verifiable credentials and other and DIDs and stuff like that?
Yeah, the main thing that we wanted to do was have something that wasn't proprietary at all, that was open source. So by being able to use all the work that you guys have done, like you guys wrote all the code for us, so why would we not use it? And then we don't have to pay another vendor, for some kind of stuff that usually involves consulting and lots of expenses. So, and we actually really think that the vision of Web 5 is really compelling. Like I want us to all to be in a world where we have possession of our own data and we get to decide when we share it and when we don't share it. And the progressive web app model and all the other stuff that's tied up in this just seems like a much better ecosystem.
Awesome. Okay, and with that, before we go into the demo, we're gonna just watch a little video really quickly and then dive into a quiz. So heads up to everybody. I'm trying a different way of doing a quiz. I normally just play a video and people type in the comments. I'm going to try a Kahoot quiz. I'm not too sure how it's going to go, like in terms of interaction and stuff like that. But let's be patient and let's just experiment. So I'm going to play the video and then we'll switch off to the quiz right after.
So in the music industry, why people get overwhelmed with it is this is it. This is the music industry. If you zoom,
that's crazy.
Like this is every participant and every legal contract. And so yes, it's really complex, but if you simplify it into a supply chain as a precursor to why SSI, why decentralized identity is so important, you have a lot of different industry identifiers. This is how you get paid, and your music, where it's used, gets tracked throughout the world.
When we were learning about Web 5, it really showed that there's so many possibilities regarding user safety and privacy that you can do with Web 5. So which is what the main focus we wanted our app to embody. Especially with the ride-sharing experience, in doing our research, we found we're especially concerned about protecting their payment details, their location. These are really sensitive pieces of information. We're really compelled to help people feel safe and secured in our version of a ride-sharing app.
Suppose a Brazilian banking institution wants to leverage your tools. What would the flow be like? What are the protocols used in order to implement this flow?
A couple of different ways it can work. Sometimes if it's just that direct institution, they'll integrate with us using APIs in the back end. So that institution controls the front end. They can control the wallet, they can control their traditional web app, that then calls Finclusive to do those compliance checks and issue the Finc ID for them. Finclusive can issue the wallet, but typically it's our partners are doing.
I think education is probably what the internet was built for, sharing information, sharing knowledge. Platforms like YouTube, Twitch, etc. have done a fantastic job of connecting people who know a lot of information. However, it's very hard for someone to go onto YouTube and understand that the person that they're learning from is verified, a good educator, knows what they're talking about, 20 years in the business or whatever it is.
Cool. All right, so we are going to start the quiz. Just going to let you all know, participation in the quiz allows you to get a ticket or win a ticket to We Are Developers Conference. I'll hit you all up later. But let me go ahead and share my screen on the quiz. So in order to join, let me zoom in a little bit more. In order to join, you can scan this QR code or go to kahoot.it.com and type in this game pin. I'll also put the link in the chat really quickly for folks. Let's see. I'll put it in Discord for everyone, and then I will put it in the regular chat as well. So I'll give you all time to be able to join, and let's see how this works. If not, we'll go back to regular video quizzes, but just want to see how this works out. So we got a quiz in here, and let me put the next link. Cool. We do have a few. We have 2 people. And Angie. All right. Cool. And then also want to say hi to Roger as well. Let's see how this goes. So the quiz is about TBD SDKs. If you don't know the answer, it's okay. Just try to make a little guess. Let's see where this goes. I'll wait a couple more minutes for folks. And let's put some music on so it's less quiet. I feel like that's all the people that's joining. You can still join after the quiz is started. It'll show you the pin below. And then also I have the link in the Discord. All right, I'm going to press start. All right, y'all, it is multiple choice. But multiple choice by like colors and shapes. And it's only about like 5 questions. So take your best guess, and also most accurate and fastest gets like highest points. All right, so what is a DWN, or a decentralized web node? Is it a messaging protocol, a personal data store, a type of currency, or a social media platform? We got one answer. Don't be scared, guys. You have 6 seconds left. Pick something.
It's showing shapes.
Oh, sorry. The diamond is for okay, so I should have also said open it if you have like a phone. That's probably easiest, but you're on your computer. I'll tell you all the shapes then. Thanks for participating. 2 people got a personal data store. Awesome. All right, so let's see who is in the lead right now. We got Tanya at the top.
I was robbed. I knew that. I just want it to be known for the record. I get that point.
We give you a point still. All right. And then we also have Jack, Ian, and Roger. Okay. So yeah, I didn't warn people about that. I usually do tell them pull out their phones. If you're using the same screen to look at it at the same time, it's gonna be hard. But I'll just tell you the shapes, and I'll repeat for folks as well. Let's see what the comments say. Latency is rough. The app timed out before I heard the answer. Oh, before the question. Oh no. All right. Well, this is an experiment. Maybe next time I'll just go back to the other videos, but just wanted to see how this will work out in terms of participation. All right. Next question is going to be who controls access to data in a DWN? Is it Triangle, the government, Diamond, any internet user, Circle, the owner of the node, or Square, a centralized authority? So I'll say it again. Triangle, government, it's running out. Diamond, any internet user, or Circle, the owner of... Okay, cool. Most people got the owner of the node. It's not the government. The government does not control access to the DWN, but good try. How are y'all feeling, Najwan and Jack?
I didn't pick the government. I got it right. So
okay, cool. It's okay. Okay, you said how can you join from Twitch? All right, so let me remove this banner so you can see. There is a game pin at the bottom, so you go to kahoot.it, and the game pin is 336674, and I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that link again, so you can just click the link and join there. There's only like 3 more questions left though. Latency is that bad? Oh no. Is it my latency? I feel like it is. Oh, sorry, y'all. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep going. And I'll hit you all up to say that you got your tickets to We Are Developer Conference. Next question. Oh, actually the scoreboard. That's my favorite part. So we got Tanya still at the top. Najwan, you just skipped up a couple spots. We got Jack, we got Ace, and we got Roger on the board. Good job, y'all. Next question is... The latency is crazy. Yeah, okay. So what is the function used to query records from a DWN? Is it Triangle, records.query, Diamond, protocols.query, Circle, messages.query, or Square, data.query? Take your best guess. If you haven't dealt with the SDK, that's all right. Let's see what people got. And the answer is records.query. Those are good guesses. Messages.query is a good guess as well. But it is records.query. You learned something new today. And the thing I like about Kahoot, it don't tell you who got it wrong. So you can just, be in secret.
I'll just pretend I got it right then.
Vincent says, this live, or are we live on X or live somewhere else? We're live on multiple places. We're live on like LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter, but I can't post comments to Twitter. So to join, you will go to kahoot.it and then game pin. Sorry, Jack, what did you say? I think I heard you and then forgot.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I just said I was going to lie and say that I got it right, but then you put the scoreboard up. So
Oh, but it doesn't say that like that's the one you got wrong.
that's
It
true.
it could
It
have
just
been
says
that,
I got some wrong already.
it could have been that you was a little bit slower to respond than other people.
Right.
And it's not your
Oh,
fault.
that's right. You got to click fast for the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So Tanya's at the top. Go Tanya. We got Nanjuan, we got Jack, we got Ace, and we got Roger. We got maybe 2 more questions left. Again, the game pin is Kahoot.it, game pin 336674. Okay. And next question. Okay. The next question is going to be, in what format are protocols written? So are they written in XML, YAML, CSV, or JSON? And when I say protocols, I'm talking about Web 5 protocols. I'm not talking about like HTTP protocols and FTP, different kind of protocol. Take your best guess. Cool. Everyone put JSON. Good guesses, or you have dealt with the Web 5 SDK before. Good job. Let's see where the scoreboard is. It's really about like, I guess if you had better latency and seen it faster than everybody else. All right. So we got, Najwan, you're on the top. We got Tanya, we got Jack, we got Roger, and CD Viller just made the board. Good job, y'all. All right. And now for our final question. The final question is, what does the published attribute indicate in a protocol document? So is it triangle, the data format of the protocol, diamond, whether the protocol should be public, circle, the schema URI of the protocol, and square, the actions allowed by the protocol? And okay, it was a long question to read. It is the whether the protocol should be public or not. And let's see who our final winners are on the podium. In third place, we have Tanya. Good job. In second place, we have Najwan. Who's first place? Wait a minute. Someone just beat. Let's see who it is. And it's Didi Villard. No way. You must have answered that question really, really fast. And then runners up are Jack and Roger. So I hope you got to learn something new. I learned something new as well, that maybe sharing my screen to do a poll or anything like that might not always work best in terms of latency, but okay, it was all good. All right, cool. Now we want to jump into the demo. Jack, are you ready for me to let you share your screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I know this is the time you've been waiting for. You're like, girl, forget about all this other stuff. Right. Show us what this is all about.
All right. Let me see if I can get back to the beginning. Okay. This will work. Okay. So if you, this is an app called Orange Me. It's not Softron, but since Softron just builds APIs, I was hoping to be able to demo this, but they're a little bit behind on where they thought they would be. But you can still get an idea of it with my Vaporware demo here. So if, especially if I can get back, there we go. All right. Okay. So imagine that you're in an app and you're text messaging with people. This is similar to Twitter, like group chat or something like that. You can see that you've got these different check boxes here, and we're going to see where those come from. And so if this is a Web 5 app, there's no Twitter or Threads to issue those check boxes, right, to verify identity. So how do we get to a place where you can kind of bootstrap that level of trust and do it in a way that keeps everybody in control of their own identity data? So this is what a user profile will look like. And you can see that right now it says that it's like 0 out of 3. Hopefully that you guys are able to see this. It looks a little choppy on the screen, but it says not verified 0 out of 3. And obviously, that's like a not verified account on any other social media platform. Or when you get a text from a random cell phone number, right? You don't know, there's no verification. It's just, if you know that person's cell phone number, that's fine. But if you don't know where it's coming from. So this is not a bad situation at all. It just means that there's no trust that you're building on other than the message that you just got. But if you have this account, you want other people to know that it's you, and maybe prioritize the message so that it's clear that that you're not somebody that just spun up like 10,000 bots and is spamming everybody. You can verify yourself, and you do that by clicking, verify that you're not a bot. And it shows the 3 different levels of verification that are supported by that. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you able to do control plus like maybe 2 or 3 times? Just because I'm thinking maybe the gray might be a little bit hard for people to see, plus that it's smaller. Oh, that makes it smaller. Okay, never mind.
Okay, actually, let me see if I can zoom in with. I don't know. This is Figma, so
that's okay. Figma, so well, at least for me, since I'm not a designer, I struggle with it. It's all right. You can go back to the way you were. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, okay, I don't know if that made it slightly bigger, but
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so I'll also just describe it. You're just looking at like a profile page, right? And then you can click to basically add some trust to your profile page. Totally optional, but could be useful. One of the ways that it could be useful is if you're getting messages from a lot of people, they could prioritize towards the top messages that come from somebody that has some level of verification, because it's less likely it's spam, right? That's kind of what the not a bot verifiable credential is about. So there's 3 levels of verification that you can do here, and Softron supports these as well. Not a bot means that there's no information about you that's being shared except that you have some kind of a financial account. The verifiable credential doesn't say like the name of the financial institution or anything. It's just, hey, this is a person, or this is a DID, right? This is an identity that was able to log into a financial account that is somewhat costly to create. So if I can give you a VC that says, you logged into a bank or a credit union or a utility company, I know that it's unlikely that you did that 10,000 times, right? Because you'd have to create 10,000 bank accounts or 10,000 utility accounts, and those are really expensive. So that's the idea behind there. And so when you message somebody and it presents to their other side, right? When you send a message to somebody you haven't spoken with before and you present that verifiable credential so that the orange checkbox shows up, all it's saying is there should be an orange checkbox here according to Softron. It doesn't have any other data about you at all. So this would work for pseudonymous accounts as well. The next level up is verifying your real name. And so this is saying that, my name is really Jack Couch, and Softron is attesting to that because I logged into my bank or my cell phone company, and the cell phone company said the person that's logging in is Jack Couch. And so Softron issued a verifiable credential to this DID that says Jack Couch. And then the last one is a celebrity, which just means that that's a manual process, right? So the idea here is if you're like the Michael Jackson, right, then you just have to go through a manual process of proving that you're the celebrity. And then we'll issue a verifiable credential for that too. It doesn't totally make sense for Softron to do that. We're kind of hoping somebody else is going to pick that up and run with it because it doesn't use AI or anything. It doesn't use our backend, but for now we'll do it just to help round out the ecosystem, and because these guys wanted to use Softron and they really needed those kind of 3 levels.
Yeah, that's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, I can pause there if there's any questions, because that's kind of the heart of the whole concept of what we're. And again, Softron issues verifiable credentials for all of your transaction data too. So if you're building a financial, like tbdevs, if they're building an app and they want to get a hold of account number and routing number to facilitate an ACH payment, Softron will issue a verifiable credential that says, here is Jack's account number and his routing number, and his balance is above the amount that you want to transfer. Or if you're building an app like an app just to do online account, or not online accounting. Let's say you're building an accounting app, and you want people to be able to have all of their accounting data and their transaction history from their bank in their DWN and be able to reconcile that. Softron will issue a verifiable credential just that has all of your bank data in it, and then you can take that and put that in your DWN and use that in your app. So that's kind of what we do day to day. We connect millions of consumers in the U.S. to their bank account every night. This is new, this is new stuff that we think is cool. But we do the old stuff too, the stuff that is still kind of the pays the bill stuff. But we think this is pretty cool, and we're excited that these guys are building that. So yeah, let me run through the user experience real quick, but definitely feel free to interrupt.
Keep going. No, all I was saying is the whole time you were talking, I was like, I wonder what's the celebrity going to be like? Like, how does the AI look for to figure out Beyonce? But yeah, keep going. Do your thing.
Right on. Okay, so after you you click that you want to identify you want somebody to issue you a verifiable credential. This is the page that kind of gives you two different options. So if you want, Softron can retain your login credentials. Let's say you connect to Chase. If you want, we'll log into Chase every night for you, just like we do for millions of other consumers. But instead of taking that data and like giving it to Robinhood, which is an example of something that Softron might do, we'll take the data and put it in your DWN every night. And so you'll have personal possession of your bank data, and you never have to ask anybody's permission when it's time. At that point, if you sign up for Robinhood and you want to share your bank data, or you apply for a loan and you want to share your bank data, you don't have to ask Softron or Plaid or Yodlee or Akoya or anybody else, because you already have it, and it's just a really nice user experience of, yes, I'm willing to share it. So that's one option, and this isn't necessary to get your not a bot verifiable credential or your real name verifiable credential. All we need for that is to log in once, and then we issue the verifiable credential, and then we delete all of the data on our side. But if you want us to, and this is the choice screen, if you want us to, we can continue to update your data, and we'll do that for free and just put it in your DWN for you. So that's what this screen's about.
And this happens on like a cron job or something?
Yeah, we just run it every night. Like I said, we do that for millions of people right now. There's a pretty decent chance that you're using an app where we're actually already doing that for you. If you dug through, all your terms of service, you'd probably find Softron in there somewhere. But yeah, in this case, this is different, because that old model is, the thing that pays the bills at Softron is we're pulling data from, let's say from, Bank of America, and then we're giving it to like, Rocket Mortgage or something, right? Because you're applying for a loan, and they'll want a constant view into that while you're in the underwriting process, like kind of make sure you didn't take out another mortgage while you're in the process of taking out a mortgage with them, right? But that model requires that we take on more responsibility than we want to, because we're pulling data from one financial institution and giving it to another. We would rather pull the data from your financial institution and from your account and just give it to you, and then you can share it out. Like if you want to share it with LendingTree or Rocket Mortgage or whoever, that's on you. That shouldn't be any of our business, and we shouldn't even really know about it. So this is transitioning to that model.
Gotcha.
So you can either have us continue to update your DWN on an ongoing basis, or no. Just get your VC, and then that's the end of it, which is the second option there. And then here's our terms of service. There's we'll figure out what these bullet points actually look like, but I wanted to have something to kind of draw people's attention to kind of the main points, because this is a really sensitive thing, right? Connecting your bank or your financial data to some company you've never necessarily heard of should make you concerned, and make sure you know what's going on. So the bullet points are: Softron receives your data and places it into your possession. What we're talking about there is we take the data and we put it into your DWN, and we don't do anything else. We can't resell your data. We can't anonymize it. And this varies. So some of the other providers that are supported with the UCP, like you'll have to read their terms of service to know what they're agreeing to do with or without your data. I think all the ones that are in so far are pretty solid, but there are some that are in the industry that are, let's say, more aggressive with consumer protection than others. But I think Softron's the gold standard on this. So we can't resell your data, even if it's anonymized according to our terms of service. We don't have permission to do that. And then it says you can share your data with other people or companies without Softron's knowledge or permission. So yeah, once you have it in your DWN, we have no way of knowing what you do with it. Right? It's we've signed it, we've attested that it's correct, but we can't control anything beyond that. And then the last thing is that, and this is kind of the business model for Softron in this model, is we're issuing the data under the non-commercial Creative Commons license. And so you have your data, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you give it to a company, like let's say you apply for a loan, those are the companies that pay us now. That's where our revenue comes from. Companies like lenders will pay us in order to retrieve your financial data, so that their lending process, like people have a better user experience in the onboarding process when they're applying for a loan. And so what we're doing now is we're saying we're going to give you all of your data. It's Creative Commons. Non-commercial use, you can do it whatever you want. But if you give it to a lender or you give it to a payment processor, then that payment processor needs to get a license from us to actually use it. So we still get paid, but you have the flexibility to do whatever you want with your data. So we think that's a much better model, but it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. The thing that people always think of right away is like, well, how do you know that you're ever going to actually get paid? And the truth is we kind of don't, but we also don't think that like financial institutions that are highly regulated are going to try to rip us off for 50 cents or something. So we think it's going to be okay, but we'll see. Let's see. And then this is the demo, or this is the Softron widget or the Universal Connect widget. Actually.
UCP. Okay, cool.
Yep, exactly. So this used to be our Softron widget, and it's been open sourced, and other people have contributed to it. But actually, let me show you on this other tab what it looks like in real life, because this is done, even though the Orange Me app isn't. So if you're wanting to verify that you're not a bot, or you want to verify your real name, either one, you'll see this widget, and you can search for your bank, or you can click on Barclays and log into Barclays. I'm going to search for the Softron bank just because it's a demo bank. And so I'm going to pick my bank, and then you provide your credentials. And this is just garbage credentials because it's just a demo, just a demo bank. But it shows what the user experience is. And here you might end up seeing something like MFA pop up at this stage. Would be typical if you're logging into your bank where you have to put in your two-factor authentication. So what this is showing is that there's a lag. Softron's going out, it's pulling all of your all the relevant data, logging into your financial institution for you. And then when it's done, it's going to it's just going to end. But what it looks like here.
So it doesn't do MFA for this.
It will. It depends on the bank, but I don't think there's any banks in the US that don't do MFA now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. This is just the Softron bank, no MFA, as a fake bank that we put in there.
Okay.
So actually, if you want, you can play around with it too. If you go out to softron.com and click on widget demo, it opens this up, and then you can pick any of the Softron banks and kind of see what it looks like. So after that, this would be the screen that you would see if you picked not a bot. You would see, okay, great. I logged into my bank. Now I have a verifiable credential in my data store that shows that I'm not a bot. And when I message other people, I can include that verifiable credential so they know that I've been verified to some degree. So I've got an orange check mark. We think like there are other projects like MicroStrategy is doing a project to do an orange check mark. And that's based on, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to end up with. But if they do something like you have to do a Bitcoin transaction or something, and it's enough to say, well, it would be too costly to do that for 10,000 bots, then that would be appropriate to also have an orange check mark for that. So we don't think that Softron's the only way to verify that you're not a bot. It's just one of the ways that we think it makes sense to say, hey, you've been verified to enough of a degree that it would be really expensive for somebody to run a bot farm after obtaining these verifiable credentials. And so then you could just do verify your real name, or you can upgrade later, right? So you're not a bot, and then you think about it, and you're like, well, I'm using my real name. I actually want people to know it's definitely me. Maybe I'm getting a bunch of people impersonating me or something. Then you can go here and go through the same process and say, okay, I want to verify my real name. So yeah, that's the process. We're hoping that this is all going to actually be functional at the We Are Developers Conference. So if you guys are going to be there, hopefully we'll be able to show this not with Figma, but with actual running app in the App Store. But yeah, we'll see if we can pull it off. You're muted.
I keep forgetting. Okay, because I say a lot of like, yeah. And so I mute myself so I don't do that. Okay. So what was I saying? I was saying awesome. Yeah, y'all. If you have any questions, post them in the chat. And also excited, or my team will be excited to see you at We Are Developers Conference. I believe most of my team not going, not me, but they'll be seeing you there. And then folks, please ask questions in the chat. And you can get a chance to win a ticket again. But while we're waiting for questions to come in about the demo, I have a few. Backstage, I was talking to you and Jack and Najwan about some things, and one of the things that came up was like, if you're building like with a Web 5 app, like how long does the integration take for you, like from your experience?
Yeah, I guess I can chime in on that. To integrate with basically the UCP, it's very simple. We have an open source project on GitHub, which has all the basically code for the widget. And it probably takes a developer less than a few days, a week, to just get the widgets cloned and hosted by themselves. And then they can put that into any app.
So you said it didn't take long, but like how, like, was it you alone? Want more details? Was it you alone? Was it your whole team? Like, yeah, give us some more tea on that.
Yeah, we are like one of the major contributor to the project. The widget is basically pretty straightforward, using PS and JavaScript. It's a simple front end of a widget that can be just cloned, and then you can run a command to just start it. So yeah, I think it's for individual developer, it still won't be that difficult because it's already ready to be up and running. You don't have to customize it if you don't want to. But the nice thing is it's open source. It's Apache 2, so people can do whatever they want, take it as their own, and then do anything they want with it.
Awesome. All right. So we have a couple of comments. No questions as yet. Or I think I've seen one question, but we'll do the comments first and then get to the question. One person said, super cool. This looks like an enhanced identity verification check, like those used by some users on Nostr. Then also welcome to Austin. And where will the tickets go to? If it's Web 5 related, I'd love to go. So it is so just so you all know, it's not like room and board and flight covered. We Are Developers Conference is in Berlin. So if you were hoping to go there, or you're in the area or something like that, we do have free tickets for you to attend. It's more of like a all together, like a whole developer conference type of thing, like more holistic. But there are going to be a lot of folks talking there about Web 5. My team is going, and then also Jack's team is going. They'll talk about, oh no, too many technical difficulties today. All right, they'll talk about let's see if my camera turns back on, like their product right now. Okay, cool. I'm going to switch to my regular camera. Oh, okay, let's put this right here. Okay, cool. So one person was saying, like, where can they learn more about this demo or Softron after the stream? I did put up one link. It's github.com Universal Connect project. And then there's one more link here, or two more links that I want to put to you all. One is Softron/index. And then there's another one this is like the actual website for Universal Connect Project, which is just universalconnectproject.org. All right, so my other question to you all is, so actually one thing I was reading was that like UCP handles if a like provider goes offline, and I was wondering like how's that even, if you all know, like how would that even be executed? How does that work?
Yeah. So one of the reasons to have multiple providers, like if you're doing a ton of connections a day, like tens or hundreds of thousands a day, and like let's say you're a lender and you're onboarding people, if one of your providers goes down, then your whole business goes down, right? It's like a single point of failure at a really critical spot of onboarding new people that actually want a loan, or they really want to do a payment. You know, like if you're Cash App and you're spending money to get people to sign up for Cash App, and they get to the point where they're connecting their bank account and they're going to set up direct deposit, and then they fall out. That's really expensive. So if you use the Universal Connect project and you use multiple providers, like let's say you enable MX and you enable Softron, it's not like they're going down often, but it's nice to have that redundancy. If one goes down, then your traffic can just go to the other one.
Yeah, I like that you all provided options just in case, and you thought about that. We do have another question, and someone said, having just tuned in, sorry if this was already covered, but is Softron like an open source plat? Do you want to like quickly answer that question?
Yeah, so Softron is an open source. We basically build an AI agent that will connect to applications on your behalf and then make that data available to other apps. So we turn user interfaces into APIs using AI. But the Universal Connect project is what we were showing there with the user interface to pick your bank or your, Verizon for your cell phone company or whatever. That's all open source, and the code that issues the verifiable credentials, and from the point where the user logs in and they get their data, all of that is open source and interoperable with multiple providers. The closed source stuff starts basically behind like the Softron API, and you can switch between us. So you have, even though it's not open source, you can, you have choice there.
Cool. And I will encourage you to just rewatch the episode too, because we talked a lot about like what UCP does, what Softron is, and kind of their intentions behind it, and like their past companies as well. So maybe that'll help answer your question. Talking about open source, I wanted to know, and maybe the audience wants to know this too, is this project UCP looking for contributors by any chance? And if so, what type of contributions are you looking for?
Yeah, we're definitely looking for contributors. If you have a fintech app or a social media app and you want to be able to connect to any kind of financial data, we probably already have what you need connected. So we would love to have more people using the open source app, finding issues, that sort of stuff is really helpful. But then if there is data that you want access to that's not provided, then instead of having to build it your own, you can build it into the Universal Connect project, and we'll help you do that. We're very active and interested in helping people do that. And then everybody else can get access to that data connection as well. So those are kind of the two levels of contributors that we have. You're muted.
I keep doing that. Today is an off day. Okay, sorry, y'all. I was like, also definitely try to get involved, folks. Especially like I'm a big like I'm a big advocate of open source because I think it's a good way to learn, and it's also like you basically get to contribute to a project or to something that you're going to use, and you get to make it better. So definitely join in on that, y'all. And again, I did put the link up, but I'll put it up just one more time, github.com/universal-connect-project. And I like the idea of if there's data that you want to be provided, like go through that route as well. Okay, so last thing, since we are at the end of it, I'm going to ask some slightly fun questions that are not necessarily technical. But before we do that, is there anything you all wanted to add in about UCP or Softron that you didn't get to say?
Actually, somebody made the comment about these this being kind of like enhanced identity verification on Nostr. If somebody is a contributor to Nostr and could help us figure out how we could use these verifiable credentials that we're already issuing to do that on Nostr, that would be a really cool use case. I know that Nostr is similar to Web 5. We've focused more on Web 5 over the last little bit than on Nostr, but same mission, and it should work just as well. All the same concepts should plug in. So yeah, if you know anything about that, reach out to me. I'm on the Discord is probably the easiest way to chat about this with other people. So there's I think the channel is still called Verifiable Credential Selector. That is really focused on, we kind of renamed the project and maybe haven't updated the chat name. But yeah, hit me up on Discord if you have any interest in that, because that would be fun to explore.
Yeah, I thought it renamed to DCX maybe. Yeah.
No, that's a different protocol. That was the lending protocol.
Oh, okay. Cool. A lot of name changes. All right, y'all. So we're moving into the fun questions. I did change up the segment a little bit. Another experiment. We'll see how it goes. Usually I ask like, what's your favorite Beyonce song and stuff like that. But I'm tired of those questions. So what I'm going to do is have y'all give like a thumbs up or a thumbs down to a slightly, it's not like crazy controversial, but like light hot take, light spicy take. And folks in the comments, you can also leave your reactions as well, like emoji thumbs up or thumbs down. First statement is artificial general intelligence is coming within the next 5 years. Thumbs up or thumbs down. And if you want to expand on it, you can.
I'm just waiting for Nanjuan to do it because I'm going to copy her. I've been riding her coattails all my career. I might as well keep them.
You could say, no, it's not you. Or yes.
I'm going to say no, but I'll change my vote if she says yes.
I think it's a little ambitious. All right, let's see what some comments say. Austin said, bring it on. I don't know if that's to the AGI or to contributing to UCP. Okay, next question. Beyonce is a bigger influence than Taylor Swift. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
It's like two people that I have no relationship or knowledge of in any way except for their name.
Even if you don't know the answer, do a fake guess. We have Tanya doing a thumbs up.
I'm going to do a thumbs up.
Thumbs up? Okay, and then Najwan did a thumbs up too. Good choice, right answer. I'm kidding. Maybe I'll skip this one because that one's super technical. Okay, data. Individuals should be paid whenever companies use their data. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea? Thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. Nanjuan's like, I don't know. Oh, thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be a much. I mean, this is something that we've thought a lot about, and it's something that we haven't wanted to touch because it's so complicated. We don't know how to do it. I think the hardest thing is to get user consent. So we don't reuse people's data in any way. Some of our competitors may or may not do really interesting stuff. Like if you have millions of consumers' bank data going through your system, which we do, you could look at that and figure out like maybe what stocks to short. Like you could figure out if Nike was selling a lot of shoes or not. And some companies may or may not have been involved in that, but Softron has completely avoided anything touching that. Like we don't do any intelligence on top. We don't anonymize your data and sell it at all. But that, for a while, that was kind of the thing that VCs were excited about in our space, was that use case. And so, but I do think that it's possible, if you could get people to really understand what they were doing, for them to say, I'll let you use my bank transaction data and use that with a bunch of other consumers to figure out if this company is doing well or if it's not doing well. But I need to get paid for that, right? If I'm going to give up a little bit of my privacy for you to figure out whether I'm buying lots of Starbucks or if Starbucks stock is going to go down, I should get some value out of that. It shouldn't be something that's just like sneaked in. I took an Uber ride and now all of a sudden my data is being used to short Starbucks stock and I didn't get paid for it. But the trick is how do you pay them enough to make it worth that to them? But really, how do you help them understand what they're signing up for, so that they're not going, oh yeah, I'll let you have, a ton of information about me that could be abused in ways I can't understand, in order to, get 75 cents off my next cheeseburger or something. So it's tricky, but I think if you can find a way to do that and people really know what they're getting into, they should be getting paid if companies are using their data.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good point about them not knowing their actual data value. And Nanjuan, you came up with me. Did you have a thought to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think the data, especially like we're talking about financial data or like identity data, they're very valuable, and honestly, they have been really abused today in the market. And I think it is definitely in the future, in the long term, we definitely see the person's data is their own property, and they should have full control of it. And if that's to be used, they should be either compensated or it's for service to serve that person who is giving that data out. The technical implementation has a lot of challenges these days. I think Web 5 is the right direction towards that. And definitely UCP, Web 5, we're hoping to get to that.
Yes, I am hoping that UCP and Web 5 help us get to that. And I forgot to say, I did like the screen with your terms of, that had the terms of conditions for Softron, where it was like very simple. Like usually I see terms of service and conditions, I'm like, I'm not reading that. But it was like simple. I understand you're not going to use my data for certain things and when you will. So I really like that. Oh, wait, I actually want to use this as the last question from an audience person, or from a viewer, sorry. Do you use the Oxford comma, yes or no? I'm very strong about this. I say yes.
I have no idea what we're talking about right now. Like, does this have to do with? I don't know. I don't know what the Oxford comma is.
I believe it's when you use like a comma and like if you have like a list of like 3 things and you.
Oh, that's what I thought. So like. Yes, definitely. You have to put there's a pause there. You have to have the pause.
I think so too. What about you, Nanjuan? Do you have any opinion? Maybe you don't.
I don't have an opinion.
I don't know why I care so much about that. When I see that, like not in a sentence, I get upset. Oh, we got one.
I do too. That's a pet peeve. I'm definitely with you.
Awesome. This was great. Thank you so much for being willing to let me experiment with different parts of the live stream. And thank you so much to the audience for engaging. I'll try to reach out to different ones of you that were engaging in the chat and let you know about your ticket. And that will be it for us. Oh, I do want to remind people, you want to contribute, want to check out the UCP project or Softron, go to github.com, Universal Connect project. And then I had the link for Softron. I guess there's a widget demo as well that you can try out, softron.com, widget demo. And in the chat, I had also put a couple others. All right, y'all. And I will oh, wait, there's one more comment of someone saying, no Oxford comma. I don't know. Okay. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.
Hi, you. Yes, you. Did you know you're using a centralized version of the internet? It's a world where we neither own nor control our identity, data, or finances. In this current version most of us use, Web 2, the internet is geared towards user-generated content and convenience. That content is controlled by centralized entities like email providers and search engines that have access to your personal data. Then, Web 3 was introduced. It's an effort to decentralize the internet, but a lot of its tools are still controlled by a few centralized entities and aren't very easy to use. And yet, there are good parts of both versions. So, to create a truly decentralized internet, we're combining the accessibility of Web 2 and Web 3's goal of returning control back to you. The result? Web 5. It's a new version of the internet that we're collaboratively building. Web 5 is composed of 3 pillars: decentralized identifiers, verifiable credentials, and decentralized web nodes, all of which are open web standards. Combined, they create a truly decentralized online experience that hands control of your data back to you.